Hi, Sean. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am doing very well. And I will have you know that Bon Iver has been a part of my musical life for I don't know how many years. But how did you first um, feel inspired by music, or what led you to the path that brought you here?
Oh, I grew up in a musical household. My dad was a elementary music teacher, and so we always had stuff around piano, guitars. I saw my sister play in the jazz band when I was in fourth grade, and I was
Um,
just obsessed with the drummer. And so when I started playing in band, I chose percussion.
mm,
And yeah, I mean, it was always just a huge part. Went to college for classical percussion and then started touring with Justin right
mm.
after that and started my own project. And it's been a wild ride.
Yeah. How did you first begin working with Nat Geo, and what was the original pitch for America the Beautiful?
Yeah, I know the film, the score composer,
Hmm.
Joe, and we've worked on another song together for a film.
Mm.
And so he just reached out and said he had this project he was working on. Um, they're looking for a songwriter, and yeah, I just sort of sent him a couple ideas. One that I had worked on with Joe and Dylan, um, and then one that was just fresh, and um, they both stuck. So
That's awesome. How early on in the process was this? Like, did you get to see any footage, or what did you learn about the project when you began working on it musically?
it was early on. No, I didn't
Mhm.
see footage until when we were just finishing the track,
Mm.
which wasn't too long ago. But I just kind of knew the general premise of it, and I mean, it spoke to me instantly. I grew up like, you know, going to Grand Canyon, going to Yosemite, um, going to Yellowstone,
Mhm.
etc. And those were like my when I think back on my teens, like those were maybe my most informative
Mm.
experiences. And then that's something that I tried to continue on in my music, in the
Mm.
aesthetic, as sort of a source of inspiration. So it seemed it was a natural fit, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that you have said that a lot of times your music is rooted in nature. So what is that dialogue, would you say, between music and nature, or what inspirations do you draw from your personal experiences? Are there any other outside influences that affect how you approach music?
Oh, definitely. I think just nature and being outside and um, all the different activities that I love, fly fishing, hunting, hiking, walking. And Dylan spoke so well, Joe as well, about just their connection to it.
Mhm.
It's such a big part of just who I am as a person in my daily life. And so um, I guess I just choose to embrace that in my music,
Mm.
in my songwriting.
Oh, so technically speaking, what is the process of writing for a project like this? What is the back and forth between Dylan and Joe, or even speaking to the other Joe, the composer Joseph?
Yeah, it was very collaborative between well everyone, but between um, composer Joe and I,
Mhm.
um, back and forth, and he was sort of the go between between the producers
Mm.
um, and you know we have all these ideas, and then it has to shrink down into like a minute and a half song. Um, so that was challenging but exciting, and Joe brought so much life to the song and dynamics and everything that a great you know score composer would do, he did, as well as just being this even keel, beautiful human. And then we brought on Dylan and Joe Rainey further along in the process as just the final lift to the end, and they brought so much instantly. It's like what they do is so powerful and beautiful, and truly inspiring and amazing to watch, because I work for a while on this I would call simple song, and then these guys, in the matter of seconds or minutes, or just bring it to this next level that I couldn't even really imagine.
Oh, I love that. I mean, one thing that I found really fascinating about America the Beautiful is how it does incorporate Native voices in so many different ways, not just with, um, musicians coming in to be part of these tracks, but also we actually see members of various communities working on conservation, which is something that I feel like you don't see enough of. Like, societally speaking, it's almost like an invisible part of our country, even though it's part of the foundation. So what does it mean to you to get to be part of opening that door? And how early on, like, were there discussions about, like, we want to bring in specifically Indigenous voices? Or does it just so happen that you already know these guys and it was a nice, kismet situation?
Well, it feels, yeah, I mean, incredibly inspiring and just important to me. And I've been able to get to know Joe and Dylan over the last few years, especially as we've been working on more and more music together. And it's truly, I don't know, it's just truly special, and I feel so grateful in many ways. And there's just so much to learn from them every time they talk, especially about their heritage and culture and their music. I'm just learning so much and just so amazed. So it's very, very special to me. What was the other part of the question?
Just that, was there actually discussions behind the scenes about bringing on Native voices, like incorporating Native music?
Yes, and part of it too was that when Joe Trapanese first reached out, I sent him like a demo that I've been working on with Joe and Dylan, as just like, hey, this might not be what you're looking for, but I think it might really fit, since just the nature of the project and the collaboration. And I don't know if that got the ball rolling with the Nat Geo team, or if I'm sure they were already thinking about that, but it kind of seemed like just a very, natural thing to do.
Absolutely. You mentioned having worked with Joe on a song for a film before. Is that something that you are looking to get more into, like scoring, or working on music for cinema?
I'm always open to it. I've had a few opportunities to do it, and I think I like film scores.
Mhm.
I'm not really a traditional composer, so it would be a different process.
Right.
But I also, what's that?
No, I'm just saying, but like being involved musically in the film score, even if you're not composing it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and it's rewarding too in many ways, and it's nice to reach a much broader audience, and um, I like the challenge of it. It's a little bit different.
Since conservation is one of the main goals of this docuseries, like inspiring us to take better care of our natural habitats, is there anything that you have learned recently about conservation or about helping our environment that you would be able to share with viewers?
I mean, I think it's just it's an everyday thing, right? It's hard because I'm a touring musician, and so there's a lot of waste that just is built into what we do, and there's a lot of uh, fuel that we have to use to travel, and so it's challenging sometimes to wrap your mind around that, but I think for me it's just like these daily, just like baby steps in the right direction that everyone needs to take, and because it's definitely environment is changing at a rapid pace, and I think we all need to do our part, and I think that my role is to try to just tell my story through music and try to promote that as much as possible.
Absolutely. And speaking of your music, what are you working on now or next, whether it's solo with Bon Iver or anything else?
Right now I'm producing some other records and
Mhm.
working on a project with Joe and Dylan that's hopefully going to be a full length album,
Mhm.
and a lot of touring. The past couple of years we haven't been able to travel as much, so we're trying to make up for it this year and next. And I just put out a record under my name S. Carey that came
Mhm.
out 2 months ago, and so I have a tour for that coming up on the West Coast,
Mhm.
and so continue to promote that as well.
Oh, well, wonderful. Then I will perhaps go there since that is where I am. So
Okay,
thank you. Thank you so much. I love your music and I cannot wait to hear more of it. So
thank you.
have a great day.